Ladies and gentlemen, our topic champions find a way to make it happen is not merely a statement, but a revelation of the very nature of reality and the power that resides within each one of us. As we embark on this journey together, I ask you to open your minds and hearts to the infinite possibilities that lie within your own consciousness. For you see, the champion we speak of is not some external figure of greatness, but the divine essence that resides within you. Let us begin by understanding that the world we perceive is nothing more than a reflection of our own consciousness. Every circumstance, every challenge, every triumph we experience is but an outward manifestation of our inner state of being. The champion we seek to become is already within us, waiting to be recognized and expressed. Now you may ask, how do I tap into this inner champion? How do I make things happen in my life? The answer, my dear friends, lies in the power of your imagination. For imagination is not some fanciful daydreaming, but the very substance of reality itself. When we speak of champions, finding a way to make it happen, we are speaking of those who have mastered the art of living in the end. They do not struggle against current circumstances, but they know that circumstances are but shadows of past thoughts and beliefs. Instead, they dare imagine the desired end as a present fact. And in doing so, they alter the very fabric of their reality. Consider for a moment the goal you wish to achieve, the dream you long to realize. Can you see it clearly in your mind's eye? Can you feel the emotions associated with its accomplishment? This, my friends, is the key to unlocking your inner champion. For when you can live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you set in motion forces beyond your current understanding. But let me caution you, this is not mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is a fundamental shift in your state of consciousness. You must feel the reality of your desire with such intensity that it becomes more real to you than your present circumstances. This is what it means to live in the end. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Wayne, my current reality seems so far from my desired state. How can I possibly ignore what my senses tell me? To this, I say, your senses show you only the world of effects, not causes. The champion within you deals with causes, not effects. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. What you see in your outer world is a reflection of your inner assumptions and beliefs. Therefore, to change your world, you must change your assumptions about yourself and what is possible for you. Let me share with you a profound truth. There's no such thing as impossible to the champion within you. What appears impossible to your rational mind is merely an opportunity for your inner champion to demonstrate its power. For you see, the champion doesn't bow to circumstances. The champion creates circumstances. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanics of how champions make things happen. It begins with a shift in identity. You must cease to see yourself as someone striving to become a champion and instead assume the identity of the champion you wish to be. This is not pretense or self-deception, but a recognition of your true nature. Imagine for a moment that you are already the champion you aspire to be. How would you think? How would you feel? How would you carry yourself? This is not an exercise in fantasy, but a deliberate act of consciousness to align yourself with the version of you that has already achieved your desires. As you assume this new identity, you will find that your actions naturally align with your new self-concept. The champion within you will guide your decisions, inspire your actions, and attract the circumstances necessary for your success. This is the law of assumption at work. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and it must externalize itself in your world. But let me be clear, this is not about forcing things to happen through sheer willpower. The champion within you operates from a place of knowing, not striving. It is a state of allowing, of opening yourself to the infinite possibilities that exist in the realm of pure potential. Consider the great champions of history in sports, in business and art, in any field of human endeavor. What set them apart was not merely their skills or circumstances, but their unshakable belief in their own potential. They saw themselves as champions. Long before the world recognized them as such, this, my friends, is the secret of those who find a way to make it happen. They do not wait for circumstances to change. They change their consciousness, and in doing so, they change their world. You might be wondering, but Wayne, what about the challenges and obstacles we face? Surely they are real and must be dealt with. To this I say, obstacles are but opportunities for the champion within you to demonstrate its power. They are not barriers to your success, but stepping stones on your path to greatness. Remember, the outer world is a reflection of your inner state. When you encounter challenges, do not fight against them or bemoan their existence. Instead, see them as the perfect opportunities they are, chances for you to exercise your power of assumption and to demonstrate the truth of your new identity. Let me share with you a powerful technique that champions use to overcome obstacles. When faced with a challenge, they do not focus on the problem itself. Instead, they imagine the state they would be in if the problem were already solved. They live in the end, feeling the relief, the joy, the satisfaction of having overcome the obstacle. By doing this, they align their consciousness with the solution rather than the problem. And as we know, what we focus on expands. Focus on problems, and you'll see more problems. Focus on solutions, and solutions will appear. This is not magical thinking, my dear friends. This is the very nature of consciousness and its relationship to the world of form. Your consciousness is the only reality. What you assume to be true, what you feel to be real, must inevitably express itself in your outer world. Now, let us address another crucial aspect of how champions make things happen: persistence. But not persistence as the world understands it. Not a dogged determination to push against resistance. No, the persistence of a champion is the persistence of vision, the unwavering maintenance of the desired state in consciousness. You see, many people give up on their dreams because they do not see immediate results. They allow the evidence of their senses to override their imagination. But the champion understands that there is often a time lag between the inner assumption and its outer manifestation. They know that the seed must be planted and nurtured before the harvest can be reaped. So persist in your assumption. Hold fast to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when your senses scream otherwise. For it is your persistent assumption that will reshape your reality, not the fleeting circumstances of the moment. Let me emphasize this point. The champion's way of making things happen is not about controlling external events. It is about controlling your own state of consciousness. For when you control the cause, your consciousness, the effects must follow. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, surely there must be action involved in making things happen. And you are right. Action is indeed part of the process, but it is inspired action, action that flows naturally from your assumed state. When you truly live in the end, when you fully embody the state of the wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally taking the actions that align with that state. You won't need to force yourself or struggle against resistance. The right actions will feel natural and effortless because they are in harmony with your new self-concept. This is how champions make things happen. Not through forced action or struggle, but through aligned action that flows from their assumed state of being. Let us now explore another crucial aspect of the champion's mindset: detachment from outcomes. This might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, aren't champions focused on achieving specific goals? Yes, but their focus is not on the outer achievement itself, but on the state of being that the achievement represents. You see, when you attach yourself too strongly to a specific outcome, you create resistance. You become anxious, you doubt, you worry about whether it will happen or not. And in doing so, you push your desire away from you. The champion, on the other hand, knows that their desire is already fulfilled in the realm of infinite possibilities. They live in the state of the wish fulfilled, feeling the joy and satisfaction of its realization without being attached to how or when it will manifest in the physical world. This detachment is not indifference. It is supreme confidence. It is the knowing that what is yours cannot be taken from you, that what you have assumed in consciousness must inevitably express itself in your world. So release your attachment to outcomes. Focus instead on maintaining the state of the wish fulfilled. Trust in the law of assumption, knowing that as you persist in your desired state, the outer world must conform to match it. Now, let us address a question that often arises when discussing this approach to achievement. What about hard work and effort? Don't champions work hard to achieve their goals? The answer is yes, champions often do work hard. But the effort comes from a different place than that of the average person. It comes from inspiration rather than desperation. It comes from a place of joy and fulfillment rather than struggle and lack. You see, when you truly embody the state of the wish fulfilled, when you live as the champion you aspire to be, work becomes play. Effort becomes joyful expression. You are not working towards something, you are working from the state of already having achieved it. This is a subtle but crucial distinction. The champion does not work hard to become successful. They work joyfully because they are already successful in their consciousness. The outer work is merely an expression of their inner state. So yes, take action, work diligently, but do so from a place of fullness, not lack. Do so as an expression of who you are, not as a means to become something you're not. Let us now explore another powerful tool that champions use to make things happen: the power of words. Your words are not mere sounds. They are creative forces, the expressions of your consciousness, and have the power to shape your reality. Champions understand this. They are mindful of their speech, knowing that every word they utter is a declaration to the universe. They speak as though their desires are already fulfilled. They use the language of assumption, not of hope or wish. Instead of saying, "I hope to achieve this," they say, "I am achieving this." Instead of "I want to be successful," they say, "I am successful." This is not self-deception or positive affirmation. It is a deliberate use of language to align their outer expression with their inner assumption. Practice this in your own life. Begin to speak as though your desires are already realized. Feel the truth of your words as you speak them. Let your speech be a constant affirmation of the state you have assumed. Now let us address a common obstacle that many face on their journey to becoming champions: the opinions and judgments of others. The world is full of people who will tell you what you can and cannot do, what is possible and what is impossible. But remember this: their opinions are based on their assumptions, their beliefs, their limitations. They have no power over you unless you give it to them. The champion understands this. They know that the only opinion that truly matters is their own. They do not seek validation from others, for they find it within themselves. They do not allow the doubts and fears of others to shake their own conviction. This does not mean that champions ignore all advice or feedback, but they filter it through their own inner knowing. So, stand firm in your assumptions. Do not let the limiting beliefs of others become your own. For you are the operant power in your life, and no one else's opinion can override the power of your own assumption. Let us now explore the role of gratitude in the champion's journey. Gratitude is not merely a virtue, it is a powerful creative force. When you are truly grateful, you are in a state of receptivity. You are open to receiving more of what you appreciate. Champions cultivate an attitude of gratitude, not just for what they have already achieved, but for what they are in the process of achieving. They give thanks for their desires as though they are already fulfilled. This gratitude is not a mere intellectual exercise. It is a deep, heartfelt appreciation that permeates their entire being. They feel grateful not just for outer circumstances, but for the very life that flows through them, for the infinite potential that resides within them. Practice this in your own life. Begin and end each day with gratitude. Give thanks for your desires as though they are already fulfilled. Feel the joy and appreciation of having what you desire. This attitude of gratitude will open you up to receive more of what you appreciate. Now, let us address a crucial aspect of the champion's mindset, the understanding of failure. In the world of form, what appears as failure is often a necessary step towards success. But the champion sees beyond appearances. To the champion, there is no such thing as failure. There are only results, only feedback. Every apparent setback is seen as valuable information guiding them towards their ultimate success. You see, when you live in the end, when you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, even an apparent failure is seen as part of the bridge of incidents leading to your desire's fulfillment. They are not obstacles, but necessary steps on your path. So release your fear of failure. Embrace every experience, whether it appears positive or negative, as a valuable part of your journey. For in truth, there are no mistakes, only lessons. There are no failures, only opportunities for growth. Let us now explore the power of decision in the champion's journey. A true decision is a turning point in consciousness. It is not merely a mental agreement, but a wholehearted commitment to a new state of being. Champions understand the power of decision. When they decide to achieve something, they do so with their whole being. They cut off all possibility of retreat. They burn their bridges, so to speak, leaving themselves no option but to move forward. This kind of decision has immense power. It aligns all aspects of your being, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions toward your desired end. It creates a sense of inevitability about your success. So make your decisions with this level of commitment. When you decide to achieve something, do so with your whole heart. Feel the weight of your decision, the finality of it. Let it be a true turning point in your consciousness. Now, let's address the role of patience in the champion's journey. Patience in this context is not passive waiting. It is active trust in the law of assumption. It is the calm knowing that what you have assumed in consciousness must inevitably express itself in your world. Champions cultivate this kind of patience. They do not anxiously await results, for they know that anxiety implies doubt. Instead, they rest in the certainty of their assumption, knowing that the seed they have planted in consciousness must, in due time, bear fruit in the world to form. This patience allows them to persist in their assumption without strain or struggle. It allows them to maintain their desired state, even when outer circumstances seem to contradict. Cultivate this patience in your own life. Trust in the law of assumption. Know that what you have assumed as true in consciousness must inevitably express itself in your world. Rest in this knowing, even as you continue to live from your desired state. Let us now explore the power of revision in the champion's journey. Revision is not merely about changing your perception of past events. It is about consciously rewriting your personal history to align with your desired state. Champions use revision not to dwell on the past, but to create a past that supports their desired future. They understand that memory is not fixed, but fluid. It can be consciously reshaped to support their assumptions. When faced with memories that contradict their desired state, they revise them. They reimagine past events in a way that aligns with their new self-concept. In doing so, they remove mental barriers to their success and create a supportive foundation for their desired future. Practice revision in your own life. When memories arise that contradict your desired state, consciously revise them. Revision them in a way that supports your new self-concept. Do this not to escape reality, but to align your entire being past, present, and future. Now, let us address the importance of self-love in the champion's journey. True self-love is not egotism or narcissism. It is a deep appreciation and acceptance of your true self, the divine essence within you. Champions cultivate this kind of self-love. They understand that they are worthy of their desires simply because they exist. They do not need to prove their worth or earn their good. They know that they are already complete, already whole. This self-love allows them to pursue their desires from a place of fullness, not lack. It allows them to give freely, to serve others, to make a positive impact on the world. But when you truly love yourself, you naturally want to express that love in the world. Cultivate this self-love in your own life. Appreciate your unique gifts, your inherent worth. Know that you are worthy of your desires simply because you exist. Let this self-love be the foundation from which you pursue your goals and serve others. Let us now explore the power of stillness in the champion's journey. In a world that often equates business with productivity, champions understand the power of conscious stillness. This stillness is not inactivity. It is a state of heightened awareness, of deep connection with your inner being. It is in this stillness that you can most clearly hear the voice of your inner champion, that you can most powerfully impress your desires upon your subconscious. Champions regularly enter this state of stillness. They use techniques like meditation, contemplation, or simply being present in the moment. In this stillness, they connect with their true self. They clarify their vision. They strengthen their assumptions. Practice entering this state of stillness in your own life. Take time each day to be still, to connect with your inner being. Use this time to impress your desires upon your subconscious mind, to strengthen your assumption of the wish fulfilled. This practice of stillness will not only enhance your ability to manifest your desires, but will also bring a sense of peace and clarity to all aspects of your life. In conclusion, my dear friends, remember that the champion we speak of is not some external figure of greatness, but the divine essence that resides within you. By mastering the art of living in the end, by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, by speaking and acting from the state of your desire's realization, you tap into the infinite power of your own consciousness. This is how champions find a way to make it happen. Not through struggle or force, but through the conscious direction of their own imagination and assumption. As you leave here today, I urge you to embrace your inner champion. Live from the state of your wishes fulfilled, persist in your assumptions, and watch as the world around you transforms to match your inner state. For you are the operant power in your life, and through the power of your consciousness, all things are possible. Go forth and make it happen, for you are, in truth, the champion you seek to become. In this grand theater of life, we are all actors playing our parts in the divine drama. Yet, how many of us truly understand the power we possess to shape our reality? How often do we allow the voice of reason to overshadow the whispers of our imagination? Tonight, we shall unravel these mysteries and awaken to the truth that lies dormant within each of us. Let us begin by understanding the nature of belief. Belief, my dear friends, is not merely a mental assent to an idea. It is a state of consciousness, a feeling of certainty that transcends the limitations of our physical senses. When you truly believe something, you do not need external evidence to support it. Your belief becomes the evidence. Now, you might wonder, Wayne, how can I believe something when all reason and logic seem to deny its possibility? This is where the magic lies. You see, reason is but a servant of your assumptions. It faithfully presents you with evidence that supports your current beliefs. But what if I told you that you have the power to change those beliefs, and in doing so, transform your entire world? Consider for a moment the story of the Wright brothers. When they claimed that man could fly, reason denied it. Logic scoffed at the very idea. Yet their unwavering belief in the possibility of flight led to one of the greatest technological revolutions in human history. They chose to believe it even when reason denied it. So, how do we cultivate this power of belief? The first step, my friends, is to recognize that your imagining our stability. Your imagination is not substantial faculty for daydreaming. It is the creative power of God within you. When you imagine, you are literally shaping the substance of reality. To believe it when reason denies, you must learn to live from the end. This means assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled here and now, regardless of what your physical state is to you. If you desire financial abundance, you must feel the relief, the security, the joy that comes with having plenty, even if your bank account says otherwise. If you long for perfect health, you must embody the vitality, the energy, the wholeness of a perfectly healthy being, even if your body currently shows symptoms of illness. This practice of living from the end is not about denying your current reality. It's about choosing which reality you wish to experience. You see, every possible version of you already exists in the infinite sea of consciousness. By assuming the feeling of your desired state, you are tuning into a view that you can make it your present reality. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Wayne, this goes against everything I've been taught. How can I possibly believe something that contradicts all evidence? My dear friends, let me remind you that what you call evidence is nothing more than the outpicturing of your past assumptions. Change your assumptions, and you change the evidence. To illustrate this point, let me share with your personal experience. Years ago, I found myself in New York, broken out of work. Reason told me that I should be worried, that I should frantically search for any job I could find. But instead, I chose to live from the end. I imagined myself back in my home in Barbados, successful and financially secure. I felt the joy of being there, the warmth of the sun on my skin, the comfort of my own bed. I lived in this state day and night, despite all contrary evidence. Within a week, I received a letter from my brother inviting me back to Barbados and offering me a well-paying job. Reason would say this was mere coincidence, but I know it to be the natural outcome of living from the end of believing it when reason denied it. You see, my friends, the world is not outside of you. The world is your consciousness pushed out. The world is your consciousness pushed out. Everything you perceive is a reflection of your own mental states. When you change your mental state, when you dare to believe in the face of contrary evidence, you set in motion forces beyond your current understanding. These forces work tirelessly to bring about the conditions that match your new assumption. But how, you might ask, do we maintain this belief when everything around us seems to contradict it? The key lies in persistence. You must persist in your assumption, regardless of what your senses tell you. This persistence is not a matter of willpower or positive thinking. It is a matter of feeling, of experiencing your desire as an already accomplished fact. Imagine for a moment that you are an actor in a play. In this play, you are portraying a character who has everything you desire in your life. How would this character think? How would they feel? How would they carry themselves? Now, immerse yourself fully in this role. Live from it. Breathe it. Become it. This is what it means to persist in your assumption. As you persist in this new state of consciousness, you may find that doubts arise. Reason may whisper in your ear, telling you that you're being foolish, that you're denying reality. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your desired state. Remember, these doubts are merely the dying gasps of your old concept of self. They have no power unless you give them power. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of belief. Your beliefs, my dear friends, are not just thoughts in your head. They are vibrational frequencies that you emit into the universe. Everything in this universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your beliefs determine the frequency at which you vibrate. And like attracts like, when you truly believe in something, you align yourself with the frequency of that thing, drawing it into your experience. Twice why it's crucial to guard your mental diet. The thoughts you entertain, the conversations you engage in, the media you consume, all of these influence your vibrational frequency. To be the thing when reason denies it is, you must be vigilant about what you allow into your consciousness. Surround yourself with ideas, people, and experiences that support your desired state. Let me share with you another powerful technique for cultivating belief in the face of contrary evidence. It's called the lobby method. As you lie in bed each night, repeating to yourself a short, concise statement that implies your desire is already fulfilled. For example, if you desire financial abundance, you might repeat, "I am so grateful to be financially free." If you long for a loving relationship, your lullaby might be, "I am loved and cherished by my perfect partner." As you repeat these words, feel the truth of them. Allow the feeling to permeate every cell of your being. Fall asleep in this state, knowing that your subconscious mind, which knows no limitations, is working throughout the night to align your outer world with this inner truth. Remember, my friends, your subconscious mind does not discriminate between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts what you impress upon it as truth and works tirelessly to bring it into manifestation. By falling asleep in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are programming your subconscious to create that reality. Now, some of you may be thinking, "But Nevin, what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring about our desires?" To this, I say inspired action will naturally flow from your new state of consciousness. When you truly believe in something, when you live from the end, you will find yourself naturally taking the steps that lead to its manifestation. These actions will not feel like hard work or struggle. They will feel natural, even effortless, because they are in alignment with your new state of being. You will find doors opening, opportunities presenting themselves as if by magic. But remember, this magic is simply the natural result of your alignment with the frequency of your desire. Let us now address another common obstacle to belief, the opinions of others. Often when we share our dreams and aspirations, we are met with skepticism, even ridicule from those around us. Reason speaking through the mouths of well, meaning friends and family, may tell us to be realistic. We are feet on the ground. My dear friends, understand this. The opinions of others have no power over you unless you give them power. Their words are simply a reflection of their own beliefs and limitations. You are not bound by their perception of what is possible. You have the power to choose which voices you listen to, which realities you align with. In fact, the doubts and skepticism of others can serve as a powerful catalyst for strengthening your own belief. When faced with opposition, reaffirm your commitment to your desired state. Use that doubt as a springboard to dive even deeper into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. For in doing so, you are not only transforming your own reality, but also expanding the realm of possibility for all those around you. Remember the words of the great William Bake, "What is now proved was once only imagined." Every great advancement in human history, every innovation, every work of art, began as a thought, an idea that reason initially denied. The inventors, the artists, the visionaries of our world are those who dared to believe it when reason did not want that. You, my dear listeners, are no different from these great minds. You possess the same creative power, the same ability to shape reality through your imagination. The only difference lies in your willingness to use this power to believe in the face of all contrary evidence. Now let us explore another powerful tool for cultivating belief, the art of revision. Each night before you sleep, take a few moments to review the events of your day, but do not review them as they occurred. Instead, revise them. See them playing out exactly as you would have wished them to be. If you had a challenging interaction with someone, replay that scene in your mind's eye, but this time see it unfolding harmoniously. If you face the setback in your goals, revise it to a stepping stone towards success. Whatever circumstances you wish to change, change them first in your imagination. This practice of revision serves two powerful purposes. First, it impresses upon your subconscious mind new patterns of experience, which it then works to manifest in your outer world. Second, it strengthens your ability to choose your mental stakes, to believe in your desired reality regardless of current circumstances. As you consistently practice revision, you will find that your outer world begins to conform more and more to your revised-in experiences. You are literally rewriting your past, and in doing so, reshaping your present and future. Now, my friends, I want to address a question that often arises when discussing these principles. Many ask, "But Wayne, isn't this just a form of self-deception? Are we fooling ourselves by believing something that isn't true?" To this I say, truth is not something external to you. Truth is not determined by your current circumstances or by the opinions of others. Truth is what you choose to conceal in your imagination. When you accept something as true in your imagination, when you live from that state with unwavering faith, it must become true in the outer world. This is the law of your being. Consider for a moment the placebo effect. Medical science has long recognized that patients often experience real physiological changes simply because they believe they are receiving effective treatment. Their belief, their assumption of health, creates actual healing in their bodies. Is this self-deception, or is it a demonstration of the incredible power of belief to shape our reality? You see, my dear friends, what you call reality is far more malleable than you have been led to believe. It is not a fixed external thing, but a fluid reflection of your own consciousness. When you truly grasp this truth, when you begin to live from it, you will find that nothing is impossible to you. But believing it when reason denies it requires courage. It requires a willingness to step out of your comfort zone, to challenge your long-held assumptions about what is possible. It requires faith, not blind faith, but faith born of understanding the true nature of reality and your place within it. This faith is not something you need to acquire. It is already within you. It is your natural state. The doubt, the skepticism, the belief in limitations, these are the acquired conditions. They are the result of your education, your upbringing, your past experiences. But they are not you. They are not the truth of your being. To reclaim your natural state of faith, of limitless belief, you must be willing to question everything you think you know. You must be willing to entertain possibilities that your rational mind may initially reject, for it is in this space of openness, of willingness to believe, that miracles occur. Imagine for a moment that you are a prisoner in a cell. For years you have lived within the confines of this cell, believing it to be the extent of your world. Then one day someone tells you that the door has always been unlocked. Would you immediately rush to open it, or would you hesitate, held back by your long-held belief in your imprisonment? This, my friends, is the situation many of us find ourselves in. We are prisoners of our own limiting beliefs, held captive by our acceptance of what reason tells us is impossible. But the door has always been unlocked. The power to step into a new reality, a reality aligned with our deepest desires, has always been within us. To believe it when reason denies it is to reach for that door handle. It is to take that step into the unknown, fueled by the certainty that what you have imagined must come to pass. It is to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, even when all external evidence seems to contradict it. As you practice this, you cultivate the art of believing. You will begin to notice changes in your outer world. These changes may be subtle at first, a shift in someone's attitude towards you, an unexpected opportunity, a solution to a problem that had seemed insurmountable. Acknowledge these changes, no matter how small, with gratitude, for they are confirmation that your new assumption is taking root, that your beliefs reshaping your reality. And as you notice these changes, let them fuel your faith. Let them strengthen your conviction that what you have imagined must come to pass. For this is the law of your being. What you believe and feel as true must objectify itself in your world. Now, my dear friends, as we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to emphasize a crucial point. The practice of believing when reason denies, it is not a one-time event. It is not a technique to be used only when you desire something specific. It is a way of life. It is a constant choosing of which states of consciousness you wish to occupy. Every moment of every day you are faced with a choice. Will you accept the limitations that reason and your senses present to you? Or will you choose to live from the state of your field desires? Will you allow your past to dictate your future? Or will you claim your power as a creative being, shaping your reality through the power of your imagination? The choice is always yours, and it is a choice you must make moment by moment, day by day. For in every moment, you are either strengthening your belief in limitation or expanding into the infinite possibilities that are your birthright. As you go forth from this place, carrying this knowledge with you, I urge you to be bold in your imagining. Dare to believe in the seemingly impossible. Dare to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, depending on the state of your wish fulfilled. especially when reason is possibility. For you are not bound by reason. You are not limited by your current circumstances. You are a divine being possessing within you the very power that creates worlds. Your imagination is God in action. When you imagine and believe, you are fulfilling your highest purpose as a co-creator with the divine. So believe, my friends. Believe with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your being. Believe in the face of all contrary evidence. Believe when reason screams, it's denier. Believe and watch in awe as your world transforms to match your belief. For in the end, it is not reason that shapes our lives. It is our assumptions, our chosen states of consciousness. Choose wisely, choose lovingly, and above all, choose to believe in the boundless possibilities that await you. As we conclude, I invite you to take a moment now to feel the truth of your desired state. Close your eyes if you wish, and allow yourself to sink deeply into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the love that accompanies this state. Carry this feeling with you as you leave this place. Let it inform your every interaction, your every decision. For in doing so, you are living as the person you desire to be, and your outer world must conform to this inner truth. Go forth, my friends, in the knowledge that you are divine, you are powerful beyond measure, that you have within you the ability to reshape your entire world. Use this power wisely, use it lovingly, and watch in awe as your life transforms into a living testament of the boundless possibilities that await those who dare to believe, even when reason denies it. Thank you, and may your imagination guide you to the fulfillment of your deepest desires. Remember, to believe is the key, not the other way around. Believe it, live from it, and it must be. That is the law, that is a promise, that is the truth of your being. Embrace it, embody it, and watch your world transform before your very eyes. My dear wonderful friends, tonight I shall share with you the most powerful secret in all of creation. How to speak to yourself in a way that will completely transform your world in just 3 days. Not in 3 months, not in 3 years, but in 3 days. For you see, the power of your inner conversation is absolute, and it is the only true creative power in the universe. Now, when I tell you to talk to yourself, I am not speaking of the idle chatter that most engage in throughout their day. I speak of that inner conversation that is deliberate, conscious, and aligned with your desired state. For your inner conversation is your consciousness externalized, and your consciousness is God. Consider the words of Scripture, "In the beginning was the Word." These words are not speaking of some external deity's utterance. They speak of your inner word, your inner conversation. For you are the operant power, and your inner conversation is the word that creates all things. Many of you come to me asking, "Wayne, how long must I wait to see my desires manifest?" And I tell you now, give yourself 3 days of proper inner conversation, and you will see your world begin to transform. For 3 is the number of completion in Scripture, and when you maintain the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you set in motion forces beyond your current understanding. Let me share with you exactly how to conduct this inner conversation. First, you must understand that your inner conversation must be from the end. You do not speak of what you want to be true. You speak as though what you desire is already true. This is the great secret that most of the world has missed. When you wake in the morning of your first day, your inner conversation must be from the state of your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation must be that of a wealthy person. If you desire health, your inner conversation must be that of a healthy person. If you desire love, your inner conversation must be that of someone who is deeply loved. But then this is crucial. Your inner conversation must feel natural. It must not be strained or forced, for feeling is the secret, and your inner conversation must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness. Let me give you a perfect example from Scripture. When David spoke to Goliath, his inner conversation was not, "I hope I can win," or "I will try my best." His inner conversation was from the state of victory already achieved. This is why he could say with complete conviction, This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand. Now for these 3 days you must guard your inner conversation as though your life depends upon it, because it does. Every time you catch yourself engaging in inner conversation that contradicts your desired state, you must immediately revise it. This is not a suggestion. This is a command if you wish to see your world transform. Consider this: every outer conversation you have is first an inner conversation. Every relationship you have is first an inner conversation. Every circumstance in your life is first an inner conversation. Therefore, by changing your inner conversation for just 3 days, you literally change the entire substance from which your world is created. Let me tell you how to structure your inner conversation throughout these 3 days. In the morning, your first inner words must be from the state of your wish, fulfilled before you open your eyes, before you move a muscle. Engage in the inner conversation of the person you wish to be. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation might be, I am so grateful for my abundant life. Money flows to me easily and continuously. I am surrounded by prosperity, but remember, these words must not be mere affirmations. They must be spoken with the feeling of knowing that they are already true. Throughout your day, your inner conversation must maintain the same level of conviction. When challenges arise, and they will arise, your inner conversation must remain steadfast. If someone speaks of lack, your inner conversation must be of abundance. If someone speaks of illness, your inner conversation must be of health. This is where most fail in their attempt to change their world. They allow their inner conversation to be pulled into the current circumstances rather than maintaining the conversation of their desired state. But I tell you now, circumstances have no power over your inner conversation unless you give them that power. For these 3 days, you must be relentless in maintaining your new inner conversation. When you walk down the street, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. When you eat your meals, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. When you prepare for sleep, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. Your inner conversation is the only reality. Everything else, absolutely everything, is a shadow of your inner conversation pushed out. Therefore, when you maintain the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you literally create a new world. Many of you may be thinking, but Wayne, 3 days seems too short a time to change my entire world. Let me remind you of the story of Jonah. How long was he in the belly of the whale? 3 days. And after 3 days, he was transformed, and his world was transformed. This is not coincidence, my dear friends. This is law. 3 days of proper inner conversation is all that is required to set in motion the forces that will transform your world. But these must be 3 complete days, not 3 days of wavering between states. During these 3 days, you must guard your inner conversation, not just in your waking hours, but as you fall asleep. For the last inner conversation you have before sleep is particularly powerful. It continues to echo through your subconscious mind throughout your sleep. Therefore, as you prepare for sleep during these 3 days, your inner conversation must be perfectly aligned with your desired state. If you desire a successful business, your inner conversation might be, I am so grateful for my thriving business. My customers are delighted with our services. Profits increase continuously. But remember, and this is crucial, your inner conversation must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness. It must feel as natural to have this conversation as it feels to speak of what you had for breakfast. This is where the power lies, not in the words themselves, but in the feeling of naturalness that accompanies them. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your outer conversations. Therefore, during these 3 days, you must be particularly vigilant about your outer conversations as well. They must align with your new inner conversation. If someone asks you how you are, your response must come from your desired state. If someone speaks to you about problems or difficulties, your response must come from your desired state. Your outer conversation must be a perfect reflection of your new inner conversation. Many of you may find this challenging at first. You may be tempted to engage in conversations about current circumstances rather than your desired state. But I tell you now, this is where your power lies, in maintaining your new conversation regardless of appearances. Consider the story of Jesus walking on water. What was his inner conversation? Was it about the impossibility of walking on water? Was it about the danger of the storms? No. His inner conversation was from the state of mastery over all natural laws, and his outer world had to conform to this inner conversation. During these 3 days, you must maintain the same level of conviction in your inner conversation. You must speak to yourself as though your desired state is already your reality, not as though it will be, not as though it might be, but as though it is. Let me share with you how to handle doubts when they arise during these 3 days, and they will arise. When a doubt appears in your mind, do not fight it. Instead, immediately revise your inner conversation. If you catch yourself saying inwardly, "This isn't working," immediately revise it too. "Everything is working perfectly. My world is transforming now." This revision must be immediate and complete. You cannot allow doubt to linger in your inner conversation. For remember, your inner conversation is the only reality. Therefore, a doubting inner conversation will create a doubting outer reality. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be dominated by gratitude. Not gratitude for what you hope will come, but gratitude for what is already yours in your desired state. This gratitude must be part of your inner conversation throughout the day. When you wake in the morning, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. When you go about your daily activities, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. When you prepare for sleep, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your inner states, and your inner states create your outer world. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of wealth consciousness. If you desire health, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of health consciousness. If you desire love, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of being loved. Many of you may be wondering what to do if you slip in your inner conversation during these 3 days. Let me be very clear, you must not condemn yourself. Instead, immediately revise the conversation. Remember, you are training yourself to maintain a new inner conversation, and like any training, it requires practice. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your primary focus. Every other activity must be secondary to maintaining your inner conversation. For you are literally recreating your world through this conversation. Let me share with you how to structure your inner conversation for specific desires. If you desire a new home, your inner conversation might be, "I love living in my beautiful new home. Everything about it is perfect for me." If you desire a promotion, your inner conversation might be, "I am so grateful for my new position. It's everything I desired and more." But remember, these are not mere words. They must be accompanied by the feeling of living in that new home, the feeling of working in that new position. Fulfilling is the secret, and your inner conversation must generate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be specific. Vague inner conversation creates vague results. Therefore, speak to yourself with clarity about your desired state. Be specific in your inner conversation about what you are grateful for, what you are experiencing, what you are enjoying in your desired state. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your self-concept, and your self-concept creates your world. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about who you are, not just what you have. If you desire success, your inner conversation must be about being a successful person, not just about having success. If you desire abundance, your inner conversation must be about being an abundant person, not just about having money. If you desire love, your inner conversation must be about being a loved person, not just about having a relationship. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be continuous, not in the sense of constant chatter, but in the sense of consistent alignment with your desired state. Every time you become aware of your inner conversation, it must be from your desired state. Let me share with you how to maintain this continuity. Set reminders for yourself throughout the day. Every time you look at your watch, every time you eat a meal, every time you enter a room, let these be triggers to check your inner conversation. But remember, your inner conversation must not be mechanical. It must be aligned with feeling rich with the emotion of your desired state. For it is the feeling that gives power to your inner conversation. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be sovereign. You must not allow anyone or anything to dictate your inner conversation. Not circumstances, not other people's opinions, not past experiences. Nothing must have power over your inner conversation except you. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your expectations, and your expectations create your experience. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must create the highest expectations of good for yourself. Many of you may be thinking, but Wayne, what if my desired state seems impossible? Let me remind you, nothing is impossible to your inner conversation. Your inner conversation is God in action, and to God all things are possible. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about possibility, not probability. You must speak to yourself from the state of your wish fulfilled. Regardless of how probable or improbable may seem to your rational mind. Let me share with you how to handle apparent failures during these 3 days. If something happens that seems to contradict your desired state, your inner conversation must remain unchanged. You must speak to yourself as though the seeming failure is actually part of the perfect unfolding of your desire. Remember, your inner conversation is creating your reality, not the other way around. Therefore, no external circumstance has the power to change your inner conversation unless you give it that power. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your constant companion. It must be the lens through which you view every experience, the filter through which you interpret every event, the standard by which you measure every circumstance. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your belief system, and your belief system creates your reality. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must consistently reinforce the beliefs that support your desired state. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be a perfect reflection of the person you wish to be. You must speak to yourself as that person would speak. Think as that person would think. Feel as that person would feel. Let me share with you how to maintain this level of consciousness. When you catch yourself speaking from your old state, immediately ask yourself, how would I be speaking to myself if I were already the person I wish to be? Then revise your inner conversation accordingly. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about what is not, what was, or what might be. You must speak to yourself in the present tense from the state of your wish fulfilled. This is crucial for the manifestation of your desire. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your future, but it does so by creating your present. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must make your desired future your present reality. Many of you may be wondering what will happen after these 3 days. Let me tell you, if you have maintained the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you will have set in motion forces that must result in the manifestation of your desire. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your primary tool for creation. Every other method, every other technique, every other approach must be secondary to maintaining your new inner conversation. Let me share with you how to know if your inner conversation is correct. If it feels natural, if it feels real, if it feels true even in the face of contrary evidence, then your inner conversation is correct. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be protected like a precious jewel. You must guard against doubt, against fear, against negativity, for your inner conversation is the very substance from which your world is created. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with yourself creates all other relationships. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must reflect the highest, most loving relationship with yourself. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your sacred practice. You must treat it with the same reverence that a priest treats his prayers, that a scientist treats his experiments, that an artist treats his creations. Let me share with you how to maintain this level of devotion. See your inner conversation as your direct connection to the creative power of the universe. For that is exactly what it is, your consciousness in action creating your world. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your constant reminder of who you really are, the operant power in your world, the creator of reality, the God of your uniqueness. And that, my dear friends, is how you must talk to yourself for 3 days if you wish to transform your world. Not sometimes, not occasionally, but consistently, continuously, constantly. For your inner conversation is the Word of God in action, and it cannot return void. Remember this, your world is your inner conversation pushed out. Therefore, guard your inner conversation for these 3 days, as though your life depends upon it, because it does. So what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue with your old inner conversation, creating the same results you've always created? Or will you begin today, this moment, to maintain a new inner conversation that must create a new world? The choice is yours, but the law is absolute. Your inner conversation creates your reality. Therefore, speak to yourself for 3 days as though your desires are already fulfilled, and watch your world transform. That's the message I want to leave you tonight. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. Not because it's simple, but because it's powerful. Not because it's what you expected to hear, but because it's what you needed to hear. Remember, 3 days of proper inner conversation will transform your world. Every single time. And isn't that worth thinking about?